I don't need more flames going up at all. Okay, so, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on in.
Thank you.
You mostly are serving, but today I am serving you.
Oh my.
I know, I can be fancy sometimes. They taught us well. I love this wine. I swear it's the only wine I buy. It's called Mata, or I'm butchering the fuck out of it, and I really don't care. But what I like about it is when the snowflake turns blue, it's cold, and it's ready to go.
You know what's so funny about this?
Yeah. It's
kind of like the Rocky Mountains.
Kind of like the Rocky Mountains. Exactly. Exactly. So that's my favorite thing. So, guys, thank you for coming on in, and cheers.
Cheers. Good to see you again.
You too. I know. Ooh, I shouldn't have brushed my teeth. That tastes funny. Okay, so little kind of background for everyone who's listening and or watching, however you guys kind of want to do it. We worked together at Portofino, at Club Porto, and then you guys upgraded to seafood, and we did a restaurant edition episode a while back with Courtney and Gavin, and it went really, really well. So I was like, you know what? I guess people kind of like to know about our world at times, so let's tell them about the craziness that we get to deal with.
Times right now.
Oh, it's very exciting times.
Yes.
So why don't you guys first just kind of like quickly introduce yourselves and tell everyone how long you have been in the industry for.
Absolutely. So, hi guys, my name is Michael. I've been in the industry in some shape or form for 13 years now. Since I was 18, I started back in college at the glamorous location of TGI Fridays, Kalamazoo, Michigan.
I love it!
I refused to wear flare, though, because the shirt was already horrendously large, and I was all of like 145 pounds, and the shirt was 2XL. Refused.
Yeah.
Anyways, I digress. I've also just worked in the industry alongside ever since then, as I worked as a professional dancer as well.
Fantastic. Clint, how about you? Because you've been all over, I feel like, the company
I've been
now.
all over lettuce, for like the last 8-9 years. But my first serving job, or in the industry, was in Des Moines, Ohio, at the Pizza Hut. So that was probably, I think I was 19, 20.
Okay.
But yeah, even through college, my corporate jobs, I've always had some kind of job in the service industry since then.
Yeah.
Even if it was just like a few nights a week.
I feel like people, like I know for me, like I kind of just fell into it, and it was totally by accident. And then I accidentally stayed for 8 years. But I feel like that's how it happens for most people. So like when you guys started, were you intending on staying as long as you have, or were you just kind of like, I'll just keep doing it because it was a nice kind of like side job?
No, not at all. I remember when I was like 21 in college working, and I'd see people who were, I mean, God, now I'm older than what they were, like in their 30s. I'd be like, why are you still doing this? But I mean, that was also in Northwest Ohio. People didn't really make a career out of it like you can in a big city.
Yeah.
You know, and that was like when I'd go back home, I feel like some of my family members would be like, oh, you're still doing that. Like, I'm still doing that.
Still doing that, and probably still making more money than people in like corporate jobs, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Which is the truth.
Yeah.
And like, it was not, that was the other thing that sucked about corporate is once you were done, you weren't done. Like sometimes you had to take your work home with you.
Yeah.
Here's things you walk out that door, they're done.
I honestly think that was one of the reasons why I did stick around, because I was like, when I was done, I was done. I didn't have to talk to anyone. And like not that I didn't want to keep talking to my like coworkers, but it was like I didn't have to carry the work home with me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so RPM Seafood, obviously the RPM brand has been around now for, I think like 7 years, somewhere around that time.
I think they opened Italian like, I think it was like 7-9 years, somewhere around there.
It's obviously grown like tremendously and has turned into kind of a staple, and definitely like a really great, like I think like high class experience for people who want like great service, excellent food, and like a really great environment. And with seafood opening, I remember, Michael, you from the beginning were like, I'm going up there. And then I remember finding out when you were going up, I was sad, but obviously happy for you at the same time. But talk people through your training, because you both were there when the restaurant opened, and I want you to tell people about the gauntlet that you guys had to go through.
It was a lot.
It was a
like
lot of
3
information.
weeks.
Yeah,
training?
it was like three and a half weeks of training, and it's a lot of information so fast. So we would be there from about 10 in the morning until about 7 o'clock at night, sitting in a lecture style kind of environment. And as people who are, used to working in the service industry, and one of the perks, at least to me, is being up and being able to move around and do the job on your feet, to sit there and just retain, and then also be quizzed on it. And that kind of like social pressure to be like, oh, I gotta know everything.
Yeah.
And then all the like independent study that came along with it. It was a lot of work. Really great work, and it was really fun, but it was a lot of work.
Well, and then after that, like, we'd wake up in the morning and meet at RPM Italian, like 2, sometimes a couple hours before our train shift actually started, to go over the shit that we had just been fed the entire day before. And, like, I don't know, like, I was having such a hard time. I mean, I've been through a lot of training with lettuce. I've helped them open up a lot of places, but this one was really intense. And it was just hard for me. I'm a very visual learner. I have to do it and just sit there and, like, I've never been a good student as far as, like, I have to touch, like, I need to see the bottle. I need all of that. Like, the wine was, for me, the hardest. And it was a lot.
Yeah, and so for people who are like probably asking themselves, like, what do you mean by like training? Like, for Portofino, I remember obviously like the Portofino menu compared to when I got there to now has changed drastically, just because of obviously the state of the world we're living in. But there were a lot of things in each of the pizzas, each of the salads, each of the appetizers, and you needed to know everything that was in everything, and you get quizzed on that, and if you don't get it right, you have to take it again. So for people who are saying, like, what do you mean you have to study all this? So you think about the amount of different ingredients that are in, just a seafood dish, a salad, appetizer, especially for you guys. And then on top of learning your wine menu, which is so intense, and then knowing all of the grapes and everything. So guys, I'm saying this because people need to realize, like, I'm pretty sure, I shouldn't say that. I know I've been said, like, oh, well, you're just a bartender. Like, no, there is so much that fucking goes into knowing what you need to know and giving the customers, like, an excellent experience. So just realize, people, that there's a lot of training that goes into it, and the ones who make it look easy are the ones who are really fucking good at their job.
Yeah.
Agreed.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
That is absolutely the truth.
Okay, so you guys have been there since the beginning. It obviously has attracted probably a wide variety of clientele, we'll say.
Yes, a broad spectrum.
So let's start with what has been the craziest thing that each of you guys have seen while working at Seafood. Ooh. And then we'll end on like the kindest thing a customer has done for you.
Ooh. I don't get in trouble.
Don't name names. We don't have to name names, but like...
Craziest thing.
Because I always say that our building, the Portofino Event Seafood Building, is the new Viagra Triangle.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
100%, especially because the yachts can pull up.
Yeah.
It is a spectacle. You know what I mean? Like, you go there and it's a scene. You can see all these different kinds of people. It is interesting.
A different echelon of clientele than when I was working at Hub 51 or Joe's Live or Studio Paris.
Oh, my God,
It's just, I mean, there's so many different things that I could say are crazy, but like the thing that just like astounded me when I started there, just the entitlement of some people to me is so crazy. Like, I know, like, we're there to provide like higher level service, of course,
right?
But then those are the people that just take it to another level, and you're like.
So can you give me an example of, like, because I think I understand what you mean, but
I feel like it's been more apparent now, like, considering what's going on.
Oh, God,
Corona, people are just, I mean, I feel like, I don't know, this is just me, I feel like you should be grateful that you can even go out to eat right now. And then we have people, to me, it's just like the people who, like, take it another step further, like, they refuse to use their phones for the QR code. They want a paper menu. It's like,
why?
Use your phone.
You're already going to be on it the entire time throughout dinner,
right,
like
100%. Yeah. I don't know, like that.
I'm trying to think of the craziest thing.
I also love the QR.
I just love it that the client. I don't know. I feel like it's getting so repetitive now, and I was talking to this with my manager a couple days ago. I'm burnt out on talking about it with the customers. I'm burnt out on them like giving me their 2 cents about it, or like saying how it's bullshit, and it's like I deal with it every day. Like, I have to be here every day. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. It's like beating a dead horse almost.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still gonna think of something like crazy, but I'd say that's like.
How about this? pre-pandemic.
Okay.
Pre-pandemic, because obviously I think post, during, well, we're not even post-pandemic, we're in the pandemic.
Yeah.
In the pandemic is a different kind of clientele and a different type of customer, I think, that comes in, which like still just makes me roll my eyes, and I'm very grateful that I can wear a mask so they can't see my facial expressions under my mask is what I'll say during this time. But pre-pandemic, what has been maybe like the wildest thing you've seen a customer do? Because I remember I
have one for Portofino.
I have one. So my Portofino one I shared was the guy who fell asleep on the couch, who was like a 65-year-old middle-aged white man who couldn't have been more than 5, 6 and a half. And he ended up on the couch with some chick who was in real estate who was a whopping like 6'1", and they were like making out on the couch, and then they fell asleep on the couch, and then he had a chubby little chode erected, and I could see, this was my first day like officially on, and I just remember being like, I looked at Edgar and I was like, so like this is, nothing's gonna top this, right? He's like, nothing will top this, like this is the craziest thing. So I always think that's a funny story to tell.
That one's good. I remember that one. Do you remember the one when the boat pulled up and that girl was like, she barely had her ass covered, and they're right there on the patio.
Which time?
She was on the boat. She had her ass out, and the entire
so
patio
much.
was just like, because the boat is pulled right up to the patio,
I don't remember that, but I do remember the time, because obviously it's such it's literally a showboat, like literally and figuratively, like coming down the river. But I remember there was some big stupid yacht, and this guy literally was in a Speedo, which like, by all means, man, do what you want to do. But
was he the kind of guy that you'd want to see in a Speedo, though?
I don't think I want to see anyone in a Speedo, to be honest. Like, personally.
I like to wear Speedos.
You would probably.
You look great
I was going to say, you look beautiful in it. I think the type of man that I'm looking for would not look good in a Speedo. But this man pulled his Speedo down and was showing the entire restaurant his ass. And I just remember it was like a car accident. I was like, you got to watch it. Yeah. But I don't want to look at your hairy ass.
Right.
And we all stared at his hairy ass as people were eating pizza and pasta.
Bon appetit.
One day we were opening, those covers they used to put up, I don't know, they probably do.
Oh my God, I remember this one.
Yes,
and,
yes.
I forget who it was, one of the runners, busters was taking off the covers that morning, and there was a homeless guy sleeping.
Stop it!
Scared the shit out of
he was like,
whichever bartender RBR was getting the patio set up that day.
I would have shit my
a
pants.
Homeless guy just sleeping on one of those couches.
I would have absolutely shit my pants.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your craziest story? Do you have a seafood one, or do you only have a Portofino one?
I have
I have one for 2 months.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, yeah.
Like, I think the craziest one at seafood is that somebody, I don't know if they were maybe mixing pills. They only had like one glass of wine and they got sick in their mask, which was
like, did they puke in their mask?
Yeah. Which
oh
was pretty
God.
Unfortunate.
Was it in the middle of the dining room? Oh Jesus Christ.
But the Portofino one was pretty good. So we were out there, and you have to understand, Portofino that summer was a wild ride. Like, we're talking...
It was Animal House.
It was, easily for dinner. It's a small restaurant. At the time, it was very small. 700 covers, no problem. And so there was this one table, and they were already being kind of raucous and rowdy, and I had an entire tray full of glasses. Oh my God. And she gets up and she runs right into me and knocks all of the glasses everywhere on the patio. And then it got into my shoe, so I hobbled off and took it off. And then they were already getting kind of warnings from the management.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting another table that was sitting a little bit more in towards the restaurant.
Yeah.
They were right up against the river. And they were a recovery table. So they were a recovery table is where they didn't have necessarily a good experience before. So we bring them back in and we really want to show them a good time, right?
Yeah.
So we really want to make sure that this experience
you get their service again, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which they did end up having a good time. Everything was great, but it was just a rocky start because as I was greeting the table, they, I heard this little clink and a little break in the glass. And I see this lady stand up, look around, and throw her broken glass into the river. And I was just I'll be right back. And I just go and grabbed the manager.
She threw her glass into the river.
Into the river. It could have hit a boat going by. It's, not safe. So they did get a talking to, but it was just really funny.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, so I still believe, even though we deal with some crazy human beings at time, my faith in humanity does get restored at work. So that I do believe. So what has been the kindest thing that has happened to you while working at Seafood so far?
The kindest thing so far was I had a table who was being trying, and they were resisting some of the rules for COVID, and they were really not very happy with everything that was going on, some of the regulations, unfortunately, that we have to face. And trust me, we don't want to enforce them. Like, it's not fun for us to be
it's not,
wear a mask, you have to do this. Like, it's not fun.
Yeah, once you start enforcing that, your tip.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah.
And so I had one table, offer to go and speak to management, tip me really nicely, tell me I'm so sorry, that person was absolutely out of line. So there are people, as many times as we have those impatient and kind of incredulous tables, we do have those really wonderful people that do come by as well.
Very true. What about you, Clint?
I would say the generosity of people sometimes, when I pick up the check and I see what they look for a tip is amazing. And then just those people that I don't have to explain the rules to.
Yeah.
Keep their masks on or put it back on when I'm walking up to the table, because I usually don't police them. As long as my mask is on, I really don't care.
I don't have the energy, nor do I want to give the energy to care.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the people that just get it are,
good people.
Yeah.
I feel that. I had a I can't believe I'm going to say this. I had a great Karen experience, guys.
Oh.
A great Karen experience. Swear to God.
Tell
me. Because here's the thing is, she's making Karens look good one Karen at a time. This woman was in with a girlfriend. They got, I don't even remember what it was, but they split the bill. So I think her bill ended up being $50. And she tipped $25 on $50. And then her friend tipped $25 on top of that as well, which was pretty much 50% of the bill. And I was like, oh my God, that was so sweet. And I don't remember her last name, but I just remember it saying Karen. And I was like, I want to take a picture of this, but I don't think it's a good idea to do that. But
I don't want to lose my job.
I don't want to lose my job. But I was like, you know what? One Karen looking good at a time.
Yeah.
I forgot to turn this on. Wait.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Years younger.
You ready for your close-up?
Yes, way better.
Ooh.
I know. I forgot to turn the light on, guys.
I have a Karen story to add on to that too.
Good or bad Karen?
No, it's good.
Okay, let's tell good Karen stories.
There's not all bad Karens.
There's not all
there.
bad Karens.
Yeah, and this
bad for the name
was. I
Karen.
feel like if you're named Karen, maybe they're just being extra nice. I have no idea because her. So this was the interaction. She was sitting at the bar. She's been there a few times since she was in there before we closed down and since we've been back. And I've served her twice, and this third time, it was just quiet enough for me to actually sit and chat with her for a little bit.
Yeah.
And she was telling me that her and her husband live in Streeterville. They have a house in Grand Rapids, Michigan, because their kid goes to college there. But anyways, throughout the whole interaction, she always tips really well. So at the end of the, presenting her bill, I shook her hand, and or didn't shake her hand because we can't.
Right.
But I was like, I'm sorry, I've served you a few times. I'm Clint. I don't think I've ever introduced myself to you formally. And the look on her face when she was like, oh, my name's Karen.
Oh.
And I felt and I just looked at her and I was like, I am so sorry. I was like, I never would have guessed that. I was like, you don't seem like a Karen. She's like, I know, but I hate saying it.
I know. I feel bad for the Karen pandemic. I mean, there's so many pandemics, but
I wonder how they settled on that name.
I don't know. And you see the Karen with the haircut and the I need to talk to a manager, but not all Karens are bad.
The population of the town that I grew up in Ohio has that how to speak to your manager haircut.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, but guys, not all Karens are bad. No. So, if you're a good Karen, listening, slide into my DMs. Let's talk. Let's change the stereotype on Karens. One good Karen at a time.
Yeah.
We can do that. Okay, so obviously we've all worked at kind of a variety of levels of restaurants. And I just remember when I came to Portofino, obviously the check averages were way higher, which meant your tips were higher, which meant your tip outs were higher. And even now there are times where I'm like, I can't believe I just got tipped that much money. And I don't know, you of course want to give everyone great service. But what has been the highest maybe check that you've had on a table or, even at the bar? And then, if you don't mind sharing, what has been your highest tip that you've received?
I mean, I think we all three have probably the same guy that tipped us the same amount of money.
I was not around for
weren't?
him. No, I was not. But I heard
he was very generous.
I heard he pretty much kept. Let me say this. Without giving away my sources, a guy who comes into seafood and Portofino, told me about this lovely. We'll call him the gentleman. Okay, the gentleman came in. He frequented it. He frequented his normal restaurants. And one restaurant in particular, I believe it's Chicago Cut. This summer, if Chicago Cut brought in $15 million, their manager said the gentleman brought in $5 million of the $15 million.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
That gentleman spent over $100,000 between Portofino and seafood, I feel like, in 3 weeks.
That's absurd.
Right. He would sit at the bar, order a bottle of wine, nice bottle of wine. It was always funny too because the sommelier would sprint to him as soon as he got there.
Oh, of course.
Sell him this nice bottle of wine. He'd maybe get 3 glasses. He'd get 2 glasses for his bodyguards or whatever they were watching over him. Of course, they wouldn't drink it. He would drink maybe 3 or 4 sips out of a couple $1,000 bottle of wine, and then ask the bartenders how much we spent in rent. And then that's what he would tip us.
He tipped you your rent.
There was one night he had the entire staff of seafood. It was the last night he was there.
Oh, I wasn't there.
I wasn't either.
Someone's pissed. Someone's so pissed right now.
I wasn't there either. But he had everybody. I was there for the first time around. First time around was $100. This time around was $200. But he had everybody. I don't know if it was back of house too. Probably not. Anyways, he had everybody come to by his table, and he was just flipping through a stack of hundreds and handing out $200 to everybody before he left for his last meal. Because I heard he went back to New York City, right?
I don't. He went to wherever he comes from, and
I believe he is from New York. Originally grew up there. Yeah, I never met him, have heard multiple stories.
I feel like he will forever be like the most generous person that I've ever encountered.
Yeah.
Probably, definitely up to this point, probably not again, unless he comes back next summer.
Yeah, and I think we hope, and I'm betting he probably helped a lot of servers during this time, because obviously it's been a time where we've all been hurting in such a crazy way. And I do want to get to that, but I don't want to get to that quite yet. So I always find this job so rewarding in so many ways. And I never expected to love bartending as much as I do, and being in a restaurant and working in a restaurant and being around like such a great community of people. I would love to know what has been the most rewarding part of your job so far that you kind of never expected.
I'd say just like the different variety of people that you meet. It's a great social networking opportunity.
Yeah.
From the different avenues of everybody that you work with that they have going outside of their job, plus the wealth of people that you meet, serving or bartending. They have you can put your tentacles in a lot of different things really fast.
Mm-hmm. What about you, babe?
I don't know. I know this is such a corny answer, but I really think the people that I get to work with, honestly, we do have such a wide variety of people, and people that are really loving and caring, and we do work for a company that does pick people really well and are very selective, but it also works because the teamwork is there, the camaraderie is there.
Yeah.
I just really enjoy going into work every day and being I get to chill and host a party with some of my best friends.
Yeah.
Bottom line, half the time you end up spending more time with the people that you work with than sometimes your significant other.
It's so true.
It's it kind of becomes like your second family.
Yeah.
And you get your favorites, and then you get your, I don't know. It's a great dynamic, I feel like. It
is. And I think the one thing that I've always found so interesting about a restaurant, work dynamic is you're working with people that I think you normally wouldn't ever think you could get along with, or think you would have shit in common with, you know, based off of, whether it's, where you live, you know, like sexual orientation, being a guy, being a girl, where you grew up, like your, you know, whatever your interests are. So like you wouldn't think you would have so much in common with these people and you wouldn't think you'd get along, but there's such a like blossoming friendship and that I have with people that like I would have never thought I would have created, but I don't have that without working in a restaurant.
Right.
As crazy as
and
that
I feel
sounds.
like, especially like after reopening in June, like that just solidified a lot of that stuff because we were spending a lot of time together. Plus, we were all in it together trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And they brought back such a small staff at each restaurant, and we were working together so much.
A lot, long days.
Like 13, 14, sometimes 15-hour days when that first few weeks that we were open. It was a lot. Like I remember, so it was like 3 months of doing basically nothing.
Yeah.
I didn't work out. I mean, I took long walks. I took a lot of bike rides. But as
Yeah.
far as like physically working out, that first morning when I got out of bed after working like a 14-hour shift, that first shift back, I could barely walk to my bathroom. My ankles hurt so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so glad I did Insanity that first quarantine. Not while I was doing it, but after I felt good.
Yeah. No, it's
And now
well, and
she
like
got work.
I like during that first summer at Portofino, I mean, you know, the hours there were kind of, I mean, they weren't but 13, 14, 15 hours, but they were definitely like, you know, 10, 11-hour days for some people. And you were just running and running and running around, where I remember like I was so tired that I would literally just get home and go to bed and I wouldn't eat, not because I wasn't hungry, like I'm a fucking glutton. I love food. But I was just so exhausted. And then I was like, wow, nothing fits me. This is great. And then you go from like literally stopping when like, you know, my foot twitches when I like don't do something for so long. So
Right.
I can only imagine the like, I don't want to say pain, but like your ankles had to be swollen.
The shock.
Yeah, that's a better
It's
way
like
of
a
saying
shock
it.
to your system.
Yeah, total
Yeah,
shock.
it took like a week to get used to it, but
But we're back.
yeah.
But we're back. Okay. People always ask me this question. So I feel like people who are listening will probably want to know too, who has been the most famous person that you've served at Seafood so far?
Oh, it's seafood?
Or just in general?
You know, I haven't really had any celebrities at seafood.
I haven't had any up at the bar. I mean, I've seen people in there. Taylor Kinney.
No, he's gorgeous.
I mean, I've seen a lot of cast of all the Chicago shows, Chicago
Yeah.
Fire, Med,
PD.
PD.
Mm-hmm.
Back when I opened Paris
don't-
Club, there were people coming in all the time.
Yeah.
I think one of the coolest was I got to serve Miley.
Cyrus? Shut
Twice,
up!
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and so she was there. It was Top Shop had rented out the entire venue.
Okay.
And so she was one of the guests of honor. And this was like back when she was like cute and young and like wholesome Miley.
Was this like Party in the USA, Miley?
Yeah, she had like the long curly
Curly-
brown hair.
yeah, okay.
She wasn't 21 yet, so they did have
She
security.
hadn't grinded on Alan, or not Alan Thicke. What was his name?
Oh my God! No, it was
Thicke.
Robin Thicke.
Robin
Thicke. Yeah, that was a.
Crotchet.
It will, and then like you ever seen the GIF of like the turkey shaking its tail ass and it's Miley's face on the head of the turkey?
Oh, but she was so nice.
No, I
You
believe-
guys,
yeah.
like, she was awesome.
Yeah.
Like a little spot in my heart for Miley. She was so great.
Oh, I love that.
Cute.
What about you? Anywhere like at any of your places?
I mean, I feel like I'm pretty limited up at the bar. I feel like they don't really sit at like.
People don't sit
too
at the
many
bar.
celebrities sitting at the bar. I did see. I mean, back to Taylor Kinney. I saw Lady Gaga with him in Hub 51 one night when they were still engaged.
She used to go to
Other than
RPM
that-
Italian.
Oh,
all the
there
time.
was one after the pandemic. We were sitting there. I was like, God, that guy looks so fucking familiar to me. I was like, who is that? And it was Colin Egglesfield. I'm probably butchering his last name, but he was in a movie with Kate Hudson, where her and her best friend kind of swap fiancés. I forget the name of the movie.
Is
You're
it
gonna
the
have to
one
pull
with
up
Anne
a-
Hathaway?
No, it's not Bride Wars.
I'm
I
happy
think
you
it's
know what
called
I'm
something
talking about.
Because she ends up falling in love with Kate Hudson's. Anyway, he's in it, and he was sitting at the bar one day, and I was like, God, that guy's. At first, I was like, God, that's a really attractive guy.
Yeah.
And then I kept looking at him, and I was like, oh my God, he's been on something. That was probably like. And then I had to like.
Stop staring at
Stop
him.
looking at him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's probably my most memorable one.
My two would be I always worked the smoke out, and I was working the Melman's like VIP area, and some guy walked in, and now mind you, it's like the lull of the day, like the way that the venue used to be set up, it was like concert or platform A and then platform B or whatever, stage A and stage B. So like we were by stage A, but like the act was by stage B. So some guy is like coming in, and they were like, just get him whatever he wants. So I was like, okay. So like I'm going, and I'm like, do you need anything? So like we give him food, we give him drinks, and then there's a guy who was like kind of hanging over the like fence. And he's like, come here. And I was like, what's up? He's like, dude, that's motherfucking Ja Rule. And I was like, no shit. I had no idea. But I was like, why is Ja Rule at a country concert right now? Like, I was so confused. But he had a show that night at Northerly Island. But yeah, that was the one. And then the other time that I think I fucked up his order, and I feel so bad. But Scott Pasednik came in. So any White Sox fan who's listening knows Scott Pasednik. Yeah, I know. So Scott, you're like, no idea.
Now I have another story for you too, but finish your story. Yeah, because sports.
I know. So like,
you brought the wrong homos on your show.
Absolutely true.
So Scott Pasednik came in. I think at the time he was working with like NBC Sports Chicago, like doing like the White Sox pre and post game shows, and that studio must be right by Portofino. So he comes in with a group of guys, and now mind you, this man has aged like fine fucking wine. Like he looks better now in 2020 than he did in 2005 when he was like at the peak of his playing days. And he walked in, and I just kept staring at him, and I think I was doing this to the bottle of vodka, and it just I don't even know, I couldn't tell you what he ordered because I just couldn't stop staring at this man's chiseled fucking jaw and how beautiful he was. And I was like, I don't think I did anything right. Like, I really don't think I got anything right for him. I don't think I charged him right. And I just kept staring at him. And I was like, God, if this man could see my family's Christmas card from 2005, where I literally had 22 on my face in honor of him at the White Sox parade when they won the World Series. Super embarrassing, but, fuck it. Okay, let me hear your sports story.
It was at Hub 51, and we had the back bar area, which we'd run out for private events. And it was... does Chicago always have the draft here, or do they just happen to have it 1 year here?
The NFL draft?
Yeah.
We had the draft, I believe it was just the 1 year here.
Okay. And it was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, okay. The Bears were like the 8th pick that year, 8th or 12th pick, but yeah, I remember. It was crazy. It was an awesome event, yeah.
It was like a last minute booking. They came in, they sat down, and I saw all this Philadelphia Eagles gear. Like, they were all wearing it coming in, and then this guy walks in, and he's this ginger, and he's just like a statue. So good looking, just like chiseled and just larger than life. And I had no idea who it was, and he was like the first or second round draft pick.
Yeah, it was Carson Wentz.
All the other straight bartenders came running, like they would come back to the side station, like, do you know who that is? I was like, no. I'm like, this entire party is wasted on you. So the entire time I'm talking to his mom and his girlfriend the entire time.
Oh my God. See, that's got to be the best, because like Gavin, who like knows nothing about sports, like one of his customers is Khalil Mack. And like Gavin doesn't probably, no offense, Gavin, doesn't probably know a touchdown from a home run. So like, I mean,
it's like hole in one.
Yes, exactly. like I love him, but he was like, yeah, I don't know. Like, this guy came in and apparently he liked me so much he asked for me again, and I'm like, dude, it's Khalil fucking Mack. Like,
I don't even know who that is.
Exactly. I love it though. I love it. Okay, so for people who want to come in to seafood, what do you think is like the number one thing they should get? Food-wise?
Yes. Right immediately that jumps to the forefront of my mind, and it's something I get every single time that I come in, is the grilled king crab legs. They are at a higher price point, but they're definitely worth it. They're going to be a pound of Alaskan grilled king crab. They're done in a Bermondsey sauce, which it's basically like a white wine butter sauce. It's almost more foamy in texture. Ooh. They're grilled at a high temperature, so it caramelizes the fat, makes it a little bit sweeter, and then it also has that really rich kind of like smoky flavor to it. So think like kind of like sweet summertime campfire with a curry lime aioli.
You can sell fucking ice to an Eskimo. You really can. Guys, so next time you go into seafood and you're planning on sitting down, make sure you ask for Michael McDonald. Because the man will treat you and take care of you. Okay, Clint,
He knows all of it.
He does.
I mean, they just took it off our menu last night. I don't know if it's coming back, but it was something that I sold all the time. It was the swordfish. So it's a bone-in swordfish ribeye. I think it was 23 ounces. Mm-hmm. It was pretty big.
Including the bone.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always including the bone.
Always including the bone.
But yeah, the presentation of it was amazing. So they like presented like any kind of like chop of like red, like a steak at any chop house in Chicago. So they cooked it with the bone on, sliced it off the bone, had a nice coriander crust on it with lemon and capers. And like sometimes swordfish can get like this like dried out weird texture to it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was the coriander crust that did it, or maybe it's just the Josper that we have that cooks it. But it was so good.
Yeah.
Like the
So
flavor,
soft.
the profile of everything was amazing. Every time if somebody was looking to share anything, I would immediately just be like, get this fish.
Get the swordfish. Okay.
Because at the price point, it's about almost the same as 2 fish anyways. And then, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Bada bing, bada boom. Okay, 2 more questions, and then we're going to go into my favorite, which is just random, ridiculous, rapid-fire questions, which I always love to end on. What would people be surprised to know about where you guys work and, like, your job? Like, if you would want to inform, people who come in who maybe don't know something about, like, what you guys do.
Behind the scenes work stuff. Like, people are coming in there, like, we are open for lunch Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, but, I mean, even for dinner service, I mean, people are in there at, like, 8, 9 in the morning. Like, the prep work that goes into everything. Like, we just show up as servers and bartenders. We show up, and we're basically 2 hours before showtime, and then we're done, and that's it. But the amount of prep work that goes in the back of the house, I feel like that's what a lot of people forget when they're dining out is there's so much preparation for everything before we even got there, that goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah. What would you say?
I'd say just the orchestration of all the moving parts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's really impressive the amount of communication that we have within our restaurants in general. We have, busters on headsets, along with management, along with hosts, and people are always constantly going back and forth. So if you're ever having a conversation with like a manager at some time and they kind of like go a little like dead in the eyes for a second, they're most likely getting like calls paged on the headset. And I just think that it's really interesting. It does kind of fall underneath the whole behind the scenes thing. It's the whole smoke and mirrors to make everything smooth and make it a beautiful presentable experience. But yeah, there's just a lot of communication that happens there.
Yeah. And I mean, you think about the 2-3 hours that you might spend there, people are really putting a lot of energy, heart, soul, and their time into making sure that like you have the best experience possible, and they do it and go above and beyond because they want you to come back and they want this to be the best experience that you can have,
And especially in the compound that we work in, all 3 levels.
Yeah.
Like it's that moving part of like trying to plan everything. I wouldn't want to do it.
No.
I just want to show up. I want to be behind the bar. I want to look pretty for a few hours. I want to make a few $100 bucks and get out.
Exactly. Maybe push your tits up and call it a day.
If I had tits, they would be out for days.
As I'm like trying to push mine up. Okay, so last question. Like we're still in a pandemic, and I can't even like keep up with the news anymore because I feel like every time I look and I have one reporter that I follow who's like very on top of it, something changes every day, and it's very hard to keep up to date with it. But obviously I have to keep up to date with it, and we have to because it's our jobs and it's part of our livelihoods.
Yep.
Like on the off chance, like on the very, very off chance that like our governor or our mayor or someone who is a part of this controlling the industry that we're in right now, as we're heading into winter, and it's I hate saying that, like I feel like we're about to hit the tip of the iceberg, but that's kind of what it feels like. And I say that because I think all of us have worked in the industry now for a very long time, and if there's one thing that rings true for Chicago time in the restaurant industry, it's people don't dine in January and February. Mm-hmm. There's a reason January is called dry January. People have spent all their money in December. They've maxed out their credit cards, so eating out is a luxury, not a necessity.
Yeah.
And it's we get polar vortexes. Like, it's negative 20 degrees at times. So, like, no one's leaving their house. With outdoor dining, exactly. So, you're setting...
I would just, recommend them anything from the cold bar section of the menu.
Yeah, anything cold.
Stay cold.
Because it'll stay cold, exactly.
The ceviche would be great for days.
Oh, my God, yeah.
No, before it freezes, girl.
Exactly. But, like,
Crunchy.
what would you want, our people... especially like our government to know of like what they're doing to this industry right now that we're in?
Ooh, I mean, that's a heavy and loaded question.
I know.
You know what I mean? Because it is, we are taking precautions because the numbers are going high.
Yeah.
One thing that I think that should be known is that I don't think a lot of the transmission happens in restaurants, because the thing is there are a lot of people having people over at their own personal houses for, gatherings and whatnot.
Yeah.
And where we're required by law to follow all these mandates and, have all these sanitation practices and whatnot, the houses, they can kind of do whatever they want. If they wanted to, they could run around playing lick the doorknobs. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you can if you really wanted to.
It's a really fun game.
Yeah.
I've never played that one before. It must be a Michigan thing.
Gotta love the Met.
Clint, what about you, though? Like, seriously, on the off chance that someone hears this that, like, has any power, like, what would you want them to know?
I mean, like, kind of like to follow up what he said, like, I feel like this is like a real and true, like, trying time. Like, this is a real thing going on right now. But, like, the transmission rate for restaurants is not that high. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're so overly regulated and keep up to date with every day I go in, like, pre-shift, there's something new every day, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like as far as like Let Us Entertain You, I feel like they'll be fine because they're so huge. I'm just more worried about like the mom and pop things. Like everything around me in Bucktown, Toast has closed both their locations. Mindy's Hot Chocolate is I think she's been in the process of branding or reconcepting her restaurant, but it's closed and she's gonna open more like a quick counter kind of thing.
Yeah.
So people are just like scrambling, trying to figure out how to save their businesses, and it's just all these small places like the quesadilla place on Western that I like to go to. Not there anymore.
Yeah.
There's all these small places that are not surviving.
Yeah. I even think about like, my family's bar, and it's funny working for Lettuce, which I'm very grateful for, and it's, a corporate setting or corporate company, and then I work for a family bar, which, we've been around since 1938, and our only blessing is that we own the building.
Yeah.
That's it. Like that's literally the only thing. Like and even with us still owning the building, like we're still taking a huge hit and a punch in the gut, but I find it very almost moronic that people are like, buy the tents and buy the heaters. And I'm like, okay, think about how much a tent cost. So let's just say on the low end, a tent costs $500. Like on the very low end, the very minimal end, okay? That means if you can even get a tent right now, because everyone in the city...
Tents are the new toilet paper.
Tents are the new toilet paper, yes.
And propane tanks are the new toilet paper right now.
And propane tanks, to me, are an absolute load of bullshit. Because I know I served one night at Portofino, and we had 5 or 4 propane tanks. Unless you are literally holding that thing like you're fucking riding a pole like a pole dancer... You're not getting heat.
No. The wind off the river.
It aesthetically looks pleasing, and that's about it. So it's like, why am I going to buy a tent? Why am I going to buy a propane tank? Why am I going to buy the gas for the propane tank when the gas only works for, I think it's like 5 hours. Like, it's not even very long. Mm-hmm. So is all of that cost going to outweigh how much money we bring in as a corner tavern?
Right.
It's not. Mm-hmm. Like, realistically, it's just not. And I think people... don't realize that, especially like the mom and pop places, like you hope people can, still buy the carry out for them, but like, can you do carry out 7 nights a week?
Right.
You can't.
Yeah.
You just can't. Okay. All right. So guys, I guess the point of this message is we're heading into these kind of crazy times ahead. So just, it sounds crazy, but like be very meticulous about where you're putting your money towards maybe right now, and like support those places that really mean a lot to you, especially if you want to be there. If you want them to be there next year, like you need to show them that you care.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You do.
Absolutely.
All right. Cheers really quick.
Cheers.
Cheers, beautifuls. Okay.
Cheers, love.
Fun questions now. Always end on a high note. Okay. What is your go-to drink?
I'm very seasonal. Wintertime, I'm all about a Vukare, which is kind of a like a riff on an old fashioned with a little cognac and rye whiskey.
Oh, yum.
Summertime, I'm all about the Vesper, classic,
Mm-hmm.
gin martini with a touch of vodka in there, and a little Lillet Blanc and a lemon twist.
Beautiful.
To go-to drink? Tequila.
Yeah, tequila. Just straight tequila?
I mean, in a cocktail, straight, shots. I feel like tequila's the only thing that I can drink for the next day. I don't feel like absolute death anymore. Anything else, like...
Just avoiding that.
Yeah, that hangover doesn't, feel as crazy as it did when I
Oh
was
my God.
in my 20s and 30s.
God, that was me Sunday. I drank wine, then a claw, then vodka, then claws.
The claws get me every time.
I set myself
but I still
up.
drink them.
I set myself up for failure.
Right.
I stopped.
Why do the claws get us every time?
I don't know.
I think it's malt liquor.
Is that what
I
it
think
is?
that's what it
It's
is.
malt liquor.
Yeah. And I bounced around, and I shouldn't have bounced around. And
Yeah. I remember the first time I had White Claws was at my mom's pool in Ohio. Like, they had just come out, and I didn't even heard of them yet. And I had 7, 8 of them laying in her pool. I was like, I feel fine.
And then you got out of the
that
pool.
and I was like...
I also think part of the reason that claws get you so much is because they are so portable, and because they're portable, you're not drinking any water at all.
No.
Which is like, I think the double whammy of the malt liquor and the dehydration.
Yeah.
Like, whereas if I'm like sitting at a table, I'll like entertain the water glass every once.
I would never order a White Claw at a restaurant, but if I'm out at the beach or a pool, I would drink them all day.
So portable. And actually not that bad when they're like lukewarm. Like, they're not wonderful.
But it's still drinkable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not like a warm beer, which is just like absolute death.
Yeah.
They were a crowd favorite at Club Golden Circle this summer in the parking lot.
Oh my God.
What about you?
I'm kind of like you. I'm a bit seasonal. So winter time, like heading into now, I really just like bourbon on the rocks. Like after a really fucking long day, like you need something hard, bourbon. But honestly, like it sounds so basic. Like I sound like a basic white bitch, and I don't care. But like I love Sauvignon Blanc. Like it's just I like it dry.
It's your Karen drink.
It's my Karen drink. It is totally my Karen drink, and I'm fine with that. Making one Karen look good, one Karen at a time. Okay.
Hey, times are tough now. I'm like find myself racing to 7-Eleven to get a bottle of Grigio by 9 o'clock.
Oh my God.
Of anything.
Yes. No. Me. I feel the same way. Like even like because of working now the dinner shift, I'm not eating during the shift, so I come home and I'm like, well, I'm starving, and I'm like, everything's closed. Like I got Burger King and McDonald's as my 2 go-tos, and like I shamelessly had Burger King last night.
You know what you need to do? You are so close to Chinatown. Late night delivery from Chinese spots, much better than Burger King or McDonald's.
Ooh, okay, that'll be next time. Which by next time I mean probably tonight. So we're doing that. Okay, what's the kindest thing a stranger has done for you?
Oh, one time I may or may not have been drunk. I got halfway home and I realized like I couldn't find my phone, and so she was out on her porch smoking a cigarette, and we were just hanging out in Logan Square, the Logan Square Circle.
Yeah.
And pandemic outside, life socially distanced, there till late. The cops really didn't give a shit. And I was like, oh my God, my phone. And I just like started kind of like freaking out. And she's like, you okay? And so she came down, she approached me, she logged into her Find My iPhone app, walked with me to go get my phone, and made sure that I was okay.
Oh.
So nice.
What a gem.
So nice.
Love that. Still good people in the world, man. There really are.
There are.
Yeah.
It's good, but I feel like I gotta concentrate more on that.
Yeah.
Than the negative people.
Absolutely.
Because the negative, I mean, I feel like there's more positive than negative, but the negative is just like...
They like to take up a lot of energy.
Consuming.
But that's why I love this question, because I want
Yeah.
to. I want to because we never highlight these people enough. I
Yeah.
feel like we need to highlight.
Kindest thing a stranger's ever done for me. I mean, it's a simple act. Holding the door for somebody.
Oh my God, yeah. It's so true.
You know?
It's so true.
Or if I hold the door for them just saying thank you.
Oh my gosh, that's the biggest
If I hold
one
the
for
door
me.
for somebody and they don't at least acknowledge the fact that I did it, I would never call them out on it.
You have the argument in your head, though. Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
Fucking dick.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
was like in my
Fucking
head,
Karen.
you're welcome.
Yeah. Like, you're welcome. And then they're like, oh my God. So,
And it's like,
yeah.
you know, like in anything, like in our industry, it's the little things. Like, and I feel like that's a little thing.
Yeah.
Holding the door open for somebody. Or I did have somebody 2 weeks ago the person in front of me did pay for my Starbucks. I've never had that happen to me before. But when I went to pay, they're like, no, she got it. And I felt bad because she had taken off before everything was ready to go down. But maybe that's why she did it. I don't know. So that reminds me, I got to do that sometime this week.
Yeah.
Pay for somebody's order next.
It's just,
Pay it forward.
Pay it forward.
Yeah.
Pay it forward.
He ends up going before this like large office order is $230.
It's like,
how about I can afford that right now.
I can do the next one.
Right.
What was the next order?
My income has been significantly slashed.
The kids horizon chocolate milk, I got that.
Kids chocolate milk, absolutely. Okay, would you rather go skydiving or swim in a tank with sharks surrounding you?
Skydiving.
Damn.
Sharks are my snakes and sharks.
Snakes and sharks?
Don't do them.
I want to do both, but I'd rather go skydiving.
Rather go skydiving? Okay.
Wait, what about... I gotta reflect these back to you. What was your kindest thing a stranger's done to you? We need to go back a step.
Oh, okay. Kindest thing a stranger has done for me. Oh God, let me think. I mean, I've definitely had someone pay my drink order. I know, like my Starbucks order. But kindest thing, oh God, oh my God, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like,
I put you on the spot.
you really did put me on the spot.
I know, right? You stumped her.
You stumped me. I'm normally not stumped.
I've been letting Michael go first for most of the questions, so that way I can think
So you
about
can think about
it.
Yes. Okay. Well, you know what? I'll say this. It's not a stranger. But it's my roommate. It's my roommate.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you guys have heard me scream his name at the top of my lungs because I almost lit my house on fire, and here we go again. I gotta go.
I'm just gonna move this over here.
Yeah, move her over here.
No
She's fine. No, but obviously in the beginning, well, not in the beginning of the pandemic, but my old living situation, loved my girlfriends, and we all very gracefully went our separate ways. One bought a house, one moved in with her boyfriend, and then Jenna was like, oh my God, do I have to move back home with my parents? Which, like, Mom, Dad, I love you, but I think when you live on your own for so long, it's just like very hard to go back. And I didn't know what I was gonna do, and he was like, you can come stay with me, and just just keep the place clean, and I pay the cable. And
by the way, she's done an amazing job of that.
Thank you.
Super cute in here.
I like to keep it as adorable as I possibly can, and I have my little corner set up. So that, honestly, that is it, and I hope to one day pay it forward to him in the most way possible. And on the off chance that he listens to this, Jasper, I love you. I love you. Okay, what is your favorite Christmas movie?
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation for sure.
Okay.
Elf. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a bonding thing between me and my sister. We have to watch it together. I mean, we watch it several times throughout the year, but then Christmas time when I'm home.
Christmas time. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, since I know you're going to ask me this question, I will answer it. Mine's a tie. So mine is White Christmas. I love White Christmas.
White Christmas.
Are you fucking kidding me? White Christmas?
It's a classic.
It's a classic.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
You hate musicals, though.
Oh yeah.
You hate
I
musicals.
was gonna say, is it in black and white?
It's not in black and
musical?
white, but it is an old school musical, and it's been this weird cousin tradition that we have.
Okay.
We used to go to the music box and watch it, and you sing along to the songs as the movie's playing, and then
Is it kind of like the Rocky Horror Picture Show for Christmas time?
Kinda, yeah, similar-ish.
People dress up and go to
You go in drag too?
No, I don't go in drag, sweetie.
That's
I
not,
don't go in drag.
I was more talking about just going. Do people dress up as people?
Some people do, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they're not over the top costumes,
Gotcha.
but it's
White Christmas. I'm gonna have to look that up.
I love it.
I'm a bad gay.
I know you're a bad gay. You're a really bad gay. But it's one of the reasons why I love you. It's one of the reasons. But that and It's a Wonderful Life. I think as I've gotten older each year, I watch it every year, the night before Christmas Eve, and it always touches my heart in a different way, and the meaning becomes more meaningful, and
Is
then I
that
cry.
the one with the bell?
Yeah, every time
I've
a
never
bell
seen
rings,
that
an
one
angel
either.
gets its wings. Yeah,
I've never seen
you are so bad. God, we're gonna give you a Christmas education. Okay, so since we were actually talking about mom and pop places, what is your favorite hidden gem in the city you'd like to give a shout out to that you love?
Oh my
This
gosh,
one's
that's
hard.
really hard.
waiting for Michael.
I know. You're like, I don't want to.
Bitch, I went first the entire time.
I can go.
I would say,
or you go.
I don't know. And if I broke it down to, I've lived in several different neighborhoods, and I've been in Chicago for 15 years. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to think of like. Oh, right now, I haven't been there since the pandemic, but Royal Grocer.
Where's that?
Damon and Charleston, or the Charleston too, on Levitt in Charleston, I think it is, or maybe it's Hoyne in Charleston.
Okay.
They just do booze. I don't think they've been open since March. Oh. It's my favorite place to go and just like have a cocktail. It's a cocktail bar.
I love a cocktail bar.
Yeah.
I love a cocktail bar. What about you, babe?
Mine is closed, sadly.
Oh, no.
But I will still give a shout out to it because...
Like closed down permanently or just closed for the pandemic?
Permanently.
Oh, God, that's
But I will have to give it a shout out because there's so many amazing memories there.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it deserves this respect. Danny's, the bar in Bucktown.
Oh, yeah, I live right down the
street. Love Danny's.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like almost like this like little tiny 2-bedroom apartment if you've never been. And honestly, anything went there. It was cash only. Drinks were cheap. They were good. They had like $3 and $4 beers, $5 bourbons. Like it was cheap, and they always had the most interesting and eclectic DJs. It was really like being in a house party. So you could just go there and dance your heart out, and it was very queer friendly. Everybody came, and it was just a big party. I remember. One of my first times falling in love with the place. Again, I may or may not have been drunk, but I was living my contemporary...
Shocking, right?
Shush.
may have been drunk. Yes.
I was living my contemporary dance fantasy, and like I was just like, at one point I was rolling on the ground, living my life, and I was like, this place is amazing. So Danny's R.I.P. Some of my favorite memories of going out in Chicago.
There's a lot of queer stuff that's been closing down too now. Like the biggest one that I can think of right now is Queen. On Sundays. Like they had the biggest queer, I wouldn't say it was a circuit party. It was like a queer party every Sunday night at Metro. That's no more.
And it was like a costume party. Sometimes they would do themes.
It was everybody.
It was awesome.
Kind of like, I don't know, kind of like the modern day, kind of reminded me of the Boom Boom Room back in the day in the Green Dolphin. It was a lot of everybody. Celebrities, gay people, straight people,
drag queens,
drugs, people, recovery people. It was just, everybody was welcome there. I feel like that one's like a really sad loss. I didn't go that often, but when I went, it was I always had a good time. It was always so much fun.
Oh, I love that. Well, hopefully, maybe once everything gets back to normal, on the off chance that these places do open up, like, people just really got to come out, like, just, like, fully caring and loving and supporting these places as much as they can. Okay, what is the best pickup line someone has used on you while at work? Mine
usually come from women who are barking up the wrong tree.
So he's just
honestly, I think I've been hit on more by women than men.
Do you tell them that you're gay? Or do you let the Karens feel good about themselves?
So I was working at Old Town Social. That's not there anymore.
Okay.
R.I.P. But there was a group of 3 women there, and I was engaged at the time, and I had my engagement ring on my finger, and I was talking to them. I wasn't sure, like I had just started working there. We just opened. I wasn't sure what the climate was for acceptance or anything. They knew I was gay.
Yeah.
But, like, I didn't know what I could talk to the
clientele about. Right.
And they were asking me about my engagement ring. Like, oh, like, are you married? I was like, no, I'm engaged. And they started asking me, oh, like, why I wasn't married yet or something. Because they were like, oh, it's weird that a man wears the engagement ring.
Right.
And I was like, well, it's... And I was trying to, like, go around, like...
The bush.
And I was like, oh, well, it's not legal yet.
Did they
Thinking
get
that
it?
They would get it.
Yeah.
2 of them did.
Okay.
But the one girl, like, their other girlfriend, was like... this was, like, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes later throughout their drinking experience at the bar.
Oh, God.
They were paying their bill, and she's like, I just have to ask you. And she put her hand across the bar, and, like, when you can still touch people, she was like, where does your fiance live where they won't let you marry her?
Oh, my God.
And, like,
Karen.
Her one girlfriend smacked her on the arm, and she was like, you dumbass, he's gay. So it wasn't a pickup line, but it had to do with kind of a pickup line.
Coming into,
right.
No, that's hysterical.
But
that's
hysterical.
And then
I just looked at her and I was like,
Well, look at you.
Right.
Look at you, still attractive and bold. God bless. God bless. What about you?
I really
Or are
don't
you
have
always flirting with people?
No, I
No?
don't, it's just I really don't really have that many kind of transactions. I think as a server, those kind of transactions are less and less just because we're not by the table like you guys are in front
At
of
the
the guests
bar,
all the
yeah,
time.
it's
I
true.
think you get that much more at the bar than you do as a server.
Yeah.
They're usually always. I'm too busy.
Okay.
I'm so busy.
That's for the long. Someone asked me once, like, you know, like not trying. They're like, you must get hit on all the time, and I was like, I don't know, like I don't ever pay attention to it because that's how I feel. Like when I'm working, you know, whether it's Family's Bar
that's
or
the
Portofino,
last thing on our mind. Probably the first thing on their mind.
I just don't. I don't want to say I don't care, but I'm like you said, I'm so busy. I'm trying to make sure everyone gets what they want. So at the end of the day, I get tipped well. So like I'm not giving, you know, Johnny down at the end of the bar any of my attention on the off chance that he might tell me that I look nice. Like I don't care.
You push your tits up for everybody.
I push my tits up for everyone, man,
Want the pepperoni
women.
pizza?
Yeah. River North with a view. Here you go.
There's the view.
Enjoy. Oh,
Right.
okay. So along this line, what's the biggest turnoff in a guy for you guys?
Oof. Lack of humor.
Okay.
Like not they're like can't make me laugh. I think
Yeah.
laughing and like that kind of like jovial quality is something that I need.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say probably. I don't know if this falls along the same lines, but people just can't like relax. People that take themselves too seriously really turn me off.
Yeah.
I don't take myself seriously at all. You mean you gotta laugh at yourself.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
always making fun of me.
Yeah.
You have to.
Right.
You have to because you have to love yourself too.
Right.
Okay. What's the best piece of advice someone's ever given you?
Wait, what's your biggest turnoff in a man?
Biggest turnoff in a guy. Here we go.
When he's gay.
I was having a conversation with someone about this where I was like, I think I attract men who are like thinking about being gay, or like they're on the line and they don't know where they want to be yet. Because it started when I was like 12. Literally, I swear
How many
to
people have you welcomed to
I'm
the other side?
pretty sure it's been a few. I don't know what it is about my manly qualities that they're like, oh, we gotta go the other way. No, but yeah, it first started when I was 12. Yeah, I remember. He's gay now. God love him. Great guy. But biggest turnoff in a guy for me, I would say, is like I think it's just like the way you talk to others. Like I'm such I'm such a like compassionate, like empathetic person that like someone who can't see that there are like different sides of people, or people, you know, like just a lack of empathy, I think.
Yeah.
Is a
That's
really
a good
big
one.
turn off for me.
Have you ever been on a date where the person that you're on a date with treats the support or the waitstaff horribly?
I have not, thank
Oh,
God, but
yes.
I think I would literally probably smack him across the face and walk out. And like I'd make sure I
Right.
tip my server
Yeah.
because I know that fucking piece of shit probably wouldn't.
Oh, no.
But I would take care of the tip and
Yeah.
Oh my God, I would die.
I clocked him.
Stop it. Like full on like roundhouse his
No,
ass.
no, I
Oh,
just
okay.
like verbally clocked them.
Oh yeah. I love
Oh, yeah.
I enjoy a verbal smack more than an actual smack. There's nothing like stinging a man's ego.
Oh,
I don't know
absolutely.
that I've ever smacked somebody across the face.
No, I didn't.
I've never
I didn't
actually
smack.
smacked anyone like
Okay.
No, it
just
was a
verbally, like a
smack.
verbal
got
smack.
you.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like
Yeah.
it was like he was being like really rude and dickish to the servant. It was like, come on, man, lighten up. We're supposed to be here having a good time. She's just trying to do her job.
Yeah.
You're being an
And second of
asshole.
all, like, why are you paying so much attention to the server?
I
And I
know.
was
I'm
like,
sitting right across from you.
Exactly. Exactly.
you realize that this is my job, also.
Yeah.
So you look really stupid right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Don't want to be around any of this. None of this. Okay, wait. Best piece of advice someone's giving you.
Best piece of advice. I mean, I have it tattooed on my arms. It was from my grandmother. It's like, this too shall pass. So
Oh,
anything is temporary. Nothing's permanent. I don't think. Is there anything that's permanent? It's all temporary.
A tattoo.
Right. Well, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I have tattooed right here.
Yeah.
So I can read it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, like, this is like something that I struggle with too, is like, just don't split the small stuff too.
Yeah.
In the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
Very true. What about you?
I think it kind of almost piggybacks off of what he was saying about, turn-offs into guys, like, don't ever take yourself too seriously.
Yeah.
Because you just make your life that much harder when you really set those kind of, those unprecedented boundaries for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's just, you don't need to. Laugh, you're going to mess up, life's going to be hard, and then you get to choose which way it's going to be hard,
Yeah. Very true.
Because life is always going to be hard no matter which direction.
Mm-hmm.
So you should choose the hard that's going to be better for you.
Gotcha. Okay.
What about you?
I have two. One is from my mother. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. I think you can ask people... I think you can ask anyone whatever you want to ask them as long as you say it in a respectful way.
Yeah.
That would be one. And then my second one is also tattooed on me. And this is from my mentor. She has this saying called bees to honey. And the metaphor is if you ever just watch honey is its like natural, sweet, authentic self. It doesn't go chasing. It doesn't go forcing. Honey just focuses on being honey. And when honey is honey, bees come buzzing. Oh, yeah. So be your own honey and the bees will come.
Like that. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, so it was the reminder to me because I felt like I was trying so hard to control things all the time. Mm-hmm. And once I finally was like, all you can control is you. Yeah. I can't control what's going to come my way, but I can control me. And that's, so it's, I think for my control freaks out there, like that would be my like tidbit of advice.
It's a really good one. I like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I love that. Thank you, Laura Olkin.
If I ever do another podcast and they ask me that, that's going to be... Jenna.
One
time told me this.
Bees to honey, baby. Uh-huh. Bees to honey. Okay, who should my next guest be?
Next guest.
Ooh, this is tough.
Mm-hmm.
What about some like back of the house people that we work with?
I would love that.
If you're doing like another restaurant thing, I would say that.
Yeah.
If you're just focusing on the bar, I don't know. I mean, unless you know some people that work in the industry that are like 100% closed down right now because like they don't have a food license.
Yeah.
Like just to get their
input.
Their input on
yeah.
it and how they're doing because it's got to be hard.
Yeah, I think the next my next person that not the next guest but if the next few episodes in, I definitely want to highlight some like local mom and pop shops so people can like know them, and because I'm like I love them and I want them to be around, and you got to support the ones who need it.
I'd say that, or like I don't know, maybe some management staff too.
Yeah.
Ooh, management would be a good one.
Yeah.
Because they have a whole different kind of viewpoint from what goes on in the front of the house and the back of the house.
Yeah.
Because they're kind of overseeing it all.
They're tiptoeing in both.
Oof.
They're tiptoeing in both.
That's a tough job too.
Yeah. Very true. Okay, and then last question. I started asking people this in the very beginning, and I really feel like it's still relevant. What have you learned the most about yourself during this time?
You're so deep.
I know. I go there.
During this time in general, or time in...
I think this time during, since March to now.
I would say that it's probably okay to say no to some stuff. I've had to, I've never really lived on a budget before. That was really hard.
Yeah.
And then I started to look at it. I was like, okay, if I go out for drinks after work, I'm dropping $50 to $100 on going out and having 2 or 3 drinks because the bartenders are buying me drinks. I'm way over tipping.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say saying no to some stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the same kind of vein, like the like kind of prioritizing your time, Yeah. I feel like I'm the kind of person who doesn't really prioritize taking time off or taking vacations or going and traveling, and that's something that I absolutely love.
Yeah.
And it took me to have absolutely nothing to do and nowhere to go for me to kind of realize, like, well, it's good to work and it's good to have that, and it's like an awesome job that we have, but I do need to take more time for myself.
Yeah.
When I actually am flexible to leave and go places. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
It's just like people in general too, like knowing, like I feel like I've really figured out, like in these past few months, who my friends are and who my acquaintances were.
Yeah.
And I love them both, but like the acquaintances, like I don't know, I feel like sometimes I was spending more time with the acquaintances than I was like some of the core people within, my chosen family that I have here in the city, because I don't have anybody here family wise in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's
you, for example.
Oh,
I haven't seen you since.
I know, like it's
forever.
It's been like, it was the lockdown, and then it was like you couldn't leave, and then I even know for me, like I was hesitant to go like out into the world again, because I was like, I don't know, like, is it better, is it not better, like,
right,
do I want to go back to work where we're serving like 1,200 people a day, like, you ask yourself all those questions, but no, I'm with you. I think I know for me, I've learned who gets my energy now.
Yeah.
And who doesn't.
More quality over
quantity.
Yeah. Sure.
And I think, like you, I'm a visual person, and I've become like very spiritual during this time, and like have definitely leaned on like faith of sorts, and then like spirituality to just like kind of figure out like why this is happening, what am I supposed to learn during this time. And there was this beautiful like visual of these two women, and they had like, it was like a battery pack on their back, like filling, like I take a battery pack out to give to you, and even though I only have 2 packets left out of 5, you're full, and you're just like selfishly taking my energy.
Yeah.
So it's learning. So I think that's what I've learned is like who fills up my cup, and whose cup I want to fill up to.
Fill me up, Buttercup.
Fill you up. Okay, so you guys are finished, which means maybe we'll open up another bottle of wine. But thank you so much for coming on, and cheers,
Thanks
guys.
for having
Thank
us.
you.
This was really fun.
Yay!
Cheers,
Cheers.